So let's get into this show. For starters, what did you guys watch the sub or the dub?
Sub. I watched the sub. I watched a little bit of the dub, and I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. I like the sub a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the whole dub because, it's Masaki Yuasa. I want to be able to pay attention to the visuals. It's not very good.
Yeah, it didn't feel very good.
There's a lot of unnatural delivery, and it just seems poorly directed.
Yeah, and I noticed they changed some things that are being communicated in scenes, not like significantly, but like enough where it's kind of like, what? Okay. I don't know. I mean, I know that's natural to make the dialogue feel more natural for the characters to speak in English, but it didn't feel natural anyway, so I was like, okay, what are you doing?
You can find the sub all on Hulu. Only the first 2 episodes of the dub are there, and the rest is behind a paywall on Funimation. So, when did he, bring out your background stuff? Yeah,
okay.
When did he make this?
Ping Pong is based on a manga series by Taiyo Matsumoto that was serialized back in 1996 to 1997, so it's just a year. It's only 5 manga volumes, but it was a pretty big hit. It got adapted into a film in 2002 that actually won a bunch of awards in the Japanese Film Academy Awards the following year. And
live action or animated?
It's live action. I really want to see it because it looks good and it has pretty good ratings. Apparently it was a very well received adaptation at the time. So our buddy Masaaki Yuasa, way later now in 2014, picked up the old manga and adapted it into a show for the Notamina block, which if you watch a lot of anime, that's the block with all the weird shit that I like on it, because it's sort of like a late night block aimed at older anime fans and not specifically otaku. I don't know too much about what drew Masaaki Yuasa to it, other than, the fact that Taiyo Matsumoto is generally considered almost a surrealist mangaka. His art is very odd. It has a very unique style. The style of the show that we see is basically his drawing style put to motion. And he's made some other stuff that was kind of famous, like Blue Spring and Go-Go Monster and Number 5 and Sunny. A lot of sort of like more indie manga that's, not like Shonen Jump or anything. It's all kind of more seinen. Seinen is manga for older audiences, so they tend to be a little bit more experimental in their art style and storytelling. So I think that's what attracted Masaaki to the series, was the way it looked.
I also have to imagine it's an interesting animating challenge, is to make Ping Pong an interesting thing to animate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was thinking earlier, animating one volley of ping pong would be pretty cool. It's cool to watch, it's fun to do, but the thing about ping pong is because of the way that game's structured, you're looking at a maximum of 60 volleys per match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that would be tedious and terrible to watch, and to make. So the way that they actually present the matches, there's a really, really interesting artistry to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like split screen action going on, but this show actually uses it to the point where it conveys action via still images the way that a comic does.
Yeah.
In a cartoon. It's really fascinating how it works.
Because it's not just a couple split screens. There'll be like 7, 8 different.
There's a lot. And I noticed that like they'll show the same movement from different angles, and all I was thinking was like, man, like animating one thing once is hard. I don't want to have to do it again from the different angle. Like, I just did it. They already saw it. They know. They know. I want to go home.
But it's sports. You got to see from all the angles. Because like if you've ever seen a live ping pong, like Olympic level ping pong match, they're very exciting but hard to follow because it's going so fast, and you're like, "Where's the ball?"
Yeah,
they're also standing like 6 feet back from the table.
Yeah,
I'm watching a match right now on my phone. They're going hard. They're going ham.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff if you know what the heck is going on.
Yeah. Well, that guy did a flip.
He wasn't even looking at it. He had his back turned. He backhanded that without even looking.
Whoa.
Yeah, see, I love the sport of ping pong. It's my favorite sport to play because you don't have to run that much, and it's about precision. But like, It really is a very deep and sport. And one thing that I like about this show is, there's some very heavy personal drama going on with these players that all centers around the sport of ping pong. And it's interesting juxtaposition because ping pong is silly.
Yeah.
It's a silly sport, and to be fair, that's mostly just because it's so little.
It's
Everything's
tiny tennis.
little.
It's mini tennis.
It's table tennis. I mean, it's serious because it's...
The table's little.
This is like the professional level, sport.
Yeah.
And it's different from,
You watch people play this game for real, it's an intense sport. And, it's absolutely a real sport. It's just, at first glance, is silly because it's little. The net is 2 inches tall. Why even have it?
But this isn't just a high school team. They're like, we're gonna play basketball. This is all these kids are they don't even give a shit about school. They're just playing ping pong.
And I feel like that's one of the themes they keep returning to a lot is that it's whether or not it's dumb to stake your life on ping pong.
Yeah,
that comes up a lot.
It's also called ping pong.
Yeah, it's an onomatopoeia.
If you didn't know...
And I think it has a different name in Japanese.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but if you didn't know that ping pong was a slang term for table tennis, if you just heard somebody say ping pong, you would think they were a racist.
Yeah.
It sounds like some kind of anti-Chinese thing that, somebody's drunk uncle would say.
Yeah, God. But there's a Chinese person in this anime, which is really neat.
He was my favorite character.
He was my favorite character, too! Alright, so if you don't know the plot, I guess we'll just say that real quick. We're in a high school boys ping pong club. We have 2 main characters, Peko and Smile. They're friends since childhood. They're both really good at ping pong. They're the best at ping pong in their little club. Though their club kind of stinks at ping pong. And their club is more in ping pong for the fun of it. And then a Chinese ping pong player, a high school level. This is all high school level. But it's Junior Olympics high school level.
High school sports are a big thing in Japan.
And China.
And the Midwest.
I know, yeah. and the American South. But the high school baseball finals are it's like the World Series there. It's a huge fucking deal.
Yeah.
And I imagine that for other sports, there's a lesser but still large degree of, stakes put on it.
Yeah, so, Peko plays this Chinese student. He loses really badly. His pride is shattered. Meanwhile, Smile has been slowly revealed as, the better ping pong player, even though everybody said Peko was. So it's sort of, about these 2 guys and their journeys through ping pong, and also the Chinese student and a lot of other people, too.
Basically, it starts to frame itself as a somewhat predictable story. You've got the guy who's obviously the main character, and it's revealed he's been holding back because he just literally has no competitive spirit whatsoever. And if he actually was good at it, it would be a giant hassle, and he doesn't care. And that's why I don't like sports. It's but for the opposite reason, where it's I'm bad at it, and it's just practice and get better. No, or I can go home. I don't wanna. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's once you get good, you get a responsibility to continue being good.
I think it's interesting that you said the main character, because in all the descriptions I've read online, they always say that Peko's the main character, and I'm
and that's the twist.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's the best thing about this, is because it's by the end of it, they're really both the main character, and by the very end of it, really everybody who's there is a main character. Everybody has just as much of an arc as anybody else, and it's just really beautifully written and paced.
But in the beginning, it does really feel like Smile's story, and I really sympathize with him because I have this almost pathological aversion to competition. It's just so unappealing to me in a way I can't understand. So I totally get where he's coming from. He just wants to have fun. It's ping pong. It's a game. It's fun. all these people going crazy about winning, you know.
But
I don't
also,
understand winning.
This academy that's like the ping pong crucible of Japan keeps trying to recruit him. They're like a bunch of cult robots.
They're like the bad guys from Dodgeball.
Yeah, they like all shave their heads and they all look like they're 30, and one of them's Ian Sinclair.
Oh, was he?
That fits.
Yeah,
That's good.
The guy with the eyebrows.
Of course.
Eyebrow guy.
Yeah.
The guy who tried to steal that guy's non-girl.
Yeah, not Ryuichi. I didn't recognize any other voice actor in the English dub. But that was Ian Sinclair. And we talked about Smile's flaws. Peiko's flaw is, he's just always been, he's got a ton of natural talent. He's just always been the best at it.
He's such a little shit.
Yeah. The second that he gets his dick knocked in the dirt, it really fucks with his world because he's never really put in the work. Mm-mm. He's never, refined his technique. He's been coasting just because. Yeah,
he says in the beginning that like, oh, like people who have to try, that just means they're not good enough.
Yeah, and he's very cocky and self-assured and when
squeaky. When China just knocks his block off, it's revealed that like, no, that's a front. He's just terrified of putting in the effort and then not being good enough. Another thing I can relate to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so that's when you start to see him come around. Because at first I thought like, okay, well he was there just for the plot twist turn, and then now he's gonna be, because it's like that was another thing that started happening. Like every time somebody would lose really, really bad, they would like rethink their life and like go on a journey of self-discovery. Like that one guy, my second favorite character,
Wanderer, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the best. He had the best emotional climax at the end of the series.
Oh gosh.
Oh
man. He goes to the beach. He goes to the mountains, but I don't think he actually made it there.
It's like, they're too high up!
These are the mountains, right? Yeah, whatever. And then he goes on vacation. He goes somewhere to some other country. He just travels the world, comes back a year later, and then realizes that he goes back to the tournament and sees Smile, who beat his ass before, and realizes that ping pong was his love all along. And that's, not to get ahead of it, but like, whatever, who cares? The thing at the very end is like, not only do all these guys like realize, like all of them on some level quit ping pong, but then when they come back they realize like, yeah, I'm not gonna be the freaking Michael Jordan of ping pong, but ping pong is still fun, and I like having fun playing this tiny game. And that's what Smile does for everybody. Smile is like, especially by the middle of it, Smile is just this terrifying force of nature. He's basically the kid with the bat in that one anime, the Satoshi Kon one.
Yes. Little
Paranoia
Slugger.
Agent. He's Little Slugger.
Yeah, because like his coach, Joe, Butterfly Joe, he's also the English teacher.
Butterfly Joe. Hello.
Where did he come from? Where did he go?
Is like, man, like you're too compassionate. You don't want to make your opponents feel bad by losing. You need to stop. You need to get rid of that. And I was like, in the beginning, I was like, no, that's a bad idea. That's all he has that makes him human. Other than that, he's just like this not person. And that's kind of what he becomes.
At first, it did seem like a bad idea, because the second he actually got into it, like, the rest of the team was, like, miserable. The coach was only training him. He was just this force of nature who was just, like, he wouldn't even play anybody else, because it's like, you're not, like, I don't understand why you think that, like, no, you're gonna lose. Go away.
Joe kept saying, like, oh, he's gonna become a monster, and I'm like, that's not a good thing. You took this boy and turned him into, like, this demon child who has no friends or anything, and like is such a harsh person to be around.
He's trying to turn him into the Raiden of ping pong.
But through all that we keep seeing like these flashbacks and visions to like him as a child and Pico, and like him being bullied, and him like holding out for a hero till the end of the night.
Yeah.
And that payoff was that, like, all along he was waiting for Pico because he knew early on how much Pico was coasting, and that's when he stopped smiling.
Yeah.
He smiled because he liked having fun playing ping pong with Pico, but Pico stopped having fun, so he stopped having fun. And then when they both like started having fun again, then everyone was having a good time.
Yeah, it wasn't that Pico wasn't having fun. He was having fun purely at others' expense. He wasn't just having fun with just the pure joy of playing the game.
Yeah, but also, like, he wasn't giving it his all anymore. Like, he stopped giving it his all, so Pico stopped giving it his all. That's what it ended up coming down to, and that revelation was, like, really awesome to me. That was a really good moment. There were so many really good moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I finally kind of figured out, the thematic heart of this show, and then it's about a bunch of different kids and their journeys of, self-discovery, self-actualization in a society that puts all this pressure to succeed on them. And it's all wrapped around, again, this juxtaposition of this silly, tiny sport.
Teenage self-actualization in an anime?
Yeah, and what's very interesting is, everybody grows through ping pong. They all grow through their experience with ping pong. And by the end, the only person who's still playing it at any kind of competitive level is Peiko. He's the only one who realizes, like, this is what I love to do. No, that's not the case. What? Who else is playing it at a competitive level?
He is playing at a competitive level, but so is Kong. And,
oh, yeah.
And Kazuma did a bit, too.
A bit, but...
He was drafted into the Japanese Olympic team, but then was replaced by Kong. And then is just working for the family business. But yeah, Kong became a naturalized citizen and joined the Japanese Olympic team. He's still playing
His arc was
Kong.
my favorite because it's like he started out as such a jerk. He didn't want to be there. He just wanted to go back home, and then like he lost super bad and was like, well, I guess I just better actually now that I can't bounce out of here ASAP, I guess I gotta do my job and train these weenies. And then they became like his family. Oh.
Yeah, I love Kong. A lot. He was so sympathetic.
When him and his mom, when they all made like dinner with his mom and all the dumplings.
Yeah, because he explains because you have to remember what China's sports is like. He was drafted as like a young kid, sent away to live at this special training school away from his family. He said he loves his mom, but he didn't really grow up with her. This was his future. This was how he supported his family because his family was from the countryside. And, if you know anything about, Chinese social economics, like there's a lot of country land where there's a lot of very poor people. And so having a child who's this incredibly gifted athlete is almost like a godsend because it means your child's going to be taken care of and they'll be able to take care of you in a way that they wouldn't have otherwise if they stayed where they were at. And he made one mistake in his group and then was like completely dropped off the team because it's very intense. There's no tolerance for failure. We've all seen those, Chinese athletes in the Olympics, like looking like death constantly while they're performing. And then he gets sent to Japan. He's far away from home. He can't, it's like.
And that's why Smile through his match with him. And that was why. And honestly, I was like, please.
Because his coach was yelling at him and they were speaking in Chinese, which is the kind of cool thing is that Kong and his friend or trainer, they speak...
Is his coach and friend?
Coach and friend. I believe it's Cantonese. I don't know.
I think it's Mandarin.
Maybe.
I think it's Mandarin because it's that very staccato. Cantonese is a bit more fluid.
Yeah.
Whereas Mandarin's like very, very staccato. It's like chopping vegetables.
Yeah, like his actor is an actual like Chinese man. He might be Chinese Japanese because he can speak both languages. But yeah, the characters he's mostly speaking Chinese the whole time, and then like his coach is yelling at him, and Smile doesn't know what he's saying, but he knows what he's saying because and he's like, okay, because he has that compassion. He's like, I don't care enough. If I win, it doesn't make a difference to me. But it does to this guy.
I think my favorite line is when they first meet and he's just like walking away and he's like, "Wait a minute, I want to challenge you to a match." and the guy's like, "Hey, wait up! He he wants to challenge you," and then Smile's just like, "But what's the point? It'll only end in defeat." And he's like, "Wait, which one?
Who's defeat?"
Yeah, who's defeat?
And I love his airplane motif and those flashes, because it doesn't explain really in depth why he's at this desperate point that he's in. It kind of assumes that you understand what it's like to be a Chinese athlete, which I kind of like.
I think it definitely communicates the stress and pressure, and just like he was a high stakes scenario. Just if nothing else, from the fact that like he fucked up once and they more or less deport him.
Yeah, he can't go home, and he just has this, like, when he's losing to
Japanese players.
Yeah, to Japanese players. And one of the tournaments when he's losing, and, like, he's flashing through all his memories of home, and, like, it's just his mom opening the door, and it's like, "Welcome home," and then, like, the plane crashes, and I'm like, no! He can't go home! It's fucking like Wizard of Oz in here, you know. Smile needs his heart, Peko needs a brain, China needs a home, and then I guess Courage is Sakuma. No, not Sakuma.
Or Dragon.
Kazuma. Who's the other, I would say, main character, mostly. It's mostly these four guys.
You get more Kazuma as the series goes on, but once he starts showing up a lot, he's a huge deal. You know, actually kind of, to a much lesser extent, obviously, kind of related to Kong. And, like, the idea of being stuck somewhere that you feel is beneath you.
Yeah.
When our family moved to Florida. Yes, Florida's terrible, but I had such a monstrously shitty attitude about the whole thing. I was such a horrible dickhead to just everybody the first 2 years I was there.
Yeah.
I was, like, outwardly mean to people constantly. It's like, I'm the only one here who's any smart or anything. That, like, and you know, the same way I kind of learned is, like, if you're stuck here, dipshit, so if you're gonna survive, you gotta be cool.
It's a good thing you actually left.
Yeah, it took longer than I wanted. Because
his coach was like...
But I did it.
You know, Kong was like, "I'm finished," and his coach is like, "You're young, you have your whole life. You can always do something."
Yeah, and that was when I realized that this is like, I'm not sure how much, if it's like directly playing on sports anime tropes. I think this is just like a story he wanted to do about ping pong, probably, but just comparing it to sports anime, I feel like I haven't watched a whole lot of sports anime start to finish, but I feel like they don't normally touch on that kind of stuff because it brings away from the heat of the sport and the friendship and the doing your best. Like, I doubt anybody in, like, big wind-up's gonna go, like, "Well, that's no big deal. You're not gonna give a fuck about this when you're, like, 30.
Hey, man, if you quit now, your shoulders will still work for the rest of your life, as opposed to for only 7 more years. They'll just fall off and you'll be home starring around.
And speaking of taking it so seriously, Kazuma the dragon is the best ping pong player in the country, essentially.
He's basically Ivan Drago.
Yeah!
In the world, he wins the International Youth Olympics for ping pong. Like, multiple times in a row, apparently.
He's the biggest, best ping pong boy.
And his whole deal is that his grandfather played ping pong, his father played ping pong, his grandfather now owns a ping pong business company that sells ping pong paraphernalia and tools and shit. And so he's like the heir to this ultimate ping pong legacy. And he feels the pressure super hard. He
was literally just like, playing this competition and winning, it's pain. I'm constantly miserable every moment of my life.
And I related to that, like, he's like, ping pong is suffering, but they're like, you're so good at it. And it's like, I understand, like, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you enjoy it. Like,
he has an existential crisis in a toilet before every single game he plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
he doesn't have to shave anymore. All his hair fell out.
One Punch style.
Like, I love the image of him climbing up that mountain and being like, every moment is trying not to fall into the abyss. Every moment is a struggle. It's never easy. It's never fun. It sucks.
It never gets any easier.
It's what life is. And then...
And the further I go, the further that fall is going to be.
And, that's a real thing sometimes. Not just with ping pong, but with anything in life. If you're successful or considered successful, and the work you do, the craft that you do, isn't always something you do because you like it. Sometimes it's just something you do because you're good at it, and you have to. Because you have to do something. And then you have those people like Peko who have everything. They have natural talent. They have hard work and discipline. They have a genuine joy for the very act of doing the thing. Like, I have a friend, she's an illustrator, and she takes breaks from doing her own projects by drawing more, and then drawing for other people's projects. Like, that's the kind of...
There is an enormous difference.
Yeah. Like, it's huge. Like, the very act of doing it is it's just joy. It doesn't feel like work, or if it is work, it's like work that means something to you. You fly, whatever. And being around people like that, it does lift you up in that moment, like how it does with Kazuma, and he grows his wings and flies around.
I cried when it cuts to like the perspective of him as a tiny baby, like playing ping pong, and his grandfather or dad or whatever is asking.
It was his father.
His father's the very first moment, like when he was the happiest playing ping pong with his dad. Like I was really emotional. It was a very nice moment.
The climax of that penultimate episode, to me, was the strongest moment of the show, and one of the best pieces of television I've seen in a long time. Just the artistry, the whole way it's shot, of Peko and Dragon, and them discovering and rediscovering their love for this game that they have poured their entire lives into. That for both of them in different ways had become a chore, had become something that they no longer loved in the same way.
Yeah.
And like when
and for Dragon, it was almost the first time he felt it since the first time he played.
Yeah.
And it was just so liberating for him.
Because he had become this ping pong automaton who's just crushes the ball and fucking I bet if he hit the ball into your head, it would go straight through your brain.
Yeah. Like, some of the most Masaki Yuasa stuff is when he does the more, like, metaphorical symbols for characters. Yeah. Like, Peko's the hero, and he's, like, this winged, like, Super
Robot.
Sentai guy. And then Dragon is a dragon with a ping pong instead of a pearl. Which is kind of cute. But yeah, he grows his own wings, he flies. But then at the end, he's like, I can't fly anymore. But thank you. And that's the reality. Like, you can be shown these... You can feel lighter when you're around people like that. But, you come back home and you kind of reset back to normal. Like, in the same way where you can become heavier when you're surrounded by people who are the opposite. And then once you get away from them, you kind of go back to how you normally were. Like, I don't think Kazuma... It's almost kind of confirmed that he never... He isn't necessarily capable of feeling that joy on his own. It's just not... his life. A huge part of his development that's never really ever specifically said is that his father committed suicide when he was a kid.
Heavily implied.
Yeah.
But, never confirmed.
Never confirmed.
His father couldn't handle it either.
Yeah.
Because the grandfather's such a, the stereotypical, like, you gotta be the best. You gotta be the best for this family. It's the only way this family will love you is if you're the best. And the father's just like, I'm not gonna fucking do this.
Yeah.
Like one of the flashbacks is him standing like on a cliff saying like, I wish I was a bird. And like, Dad, that's dangerous. And then that's where it's implied.
Yeah. And then later it flashback to the funeral where the grandfather's being an ass to his dead son. And Kazuma has to like rein it in and not do anything because it's family. His mom's not mad, so he shouldn't be mad, and it's like, oh boy.
We never ever saw Smile's family.
No, we never did.
Did they not even come to his games?
I guess not, because
apparently not.
Your child is the ping pong god.
In the Christmas montage, he seemed to come home and was alone.
You gave birth to Ping Pong Buddha.
And the Ping Pong lady, the dojo lady, who's the best character, she said that his parents were divorced and they just work all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, she said his dad is completely out of the picture, and the mom like works all night.
Yeah.
Dang.
Speaking of ping pong,
because he's literally that soft spoken. What if she has no idea that any of this occurred?
It's very possible. That's fun thing.
Yeah, she might know that he plays ping pong, and she's like, "Oh, that's nice. It's a silly little game for kids. All right, do what you gotta."
Well, because I mean, obviously she knows that he goes to like the club and whatnot, and is in the school and in the gallery. But it's like
mostly the dojo. He was. They were both him and Pekka were basically raised in that dojo.
And even if he was like, "Oh, the team's all going to like the tournament, whatever," so that's where I'll be or whatever. Like he still doesn't have to communicate to her. It's like, "Oh yeah, I could have fucking won that thing. I could have smoked every single motherfucker there. I just kind of didn't feel it."
I can play ping pong with my dick. I have to jump every time. Just what I can do it.
I either have to jump or I have to play with a non-regulation height table.
But yeah, I love the dojo lady. She's sort of like the mother figure of the series, where Joe is like the father figure, because she's also like this ping pong master from back in the day who the kids grow up with. Yeah, she becomes Pekko's trainer.
And so they're both, it's like, they both have their own Yodas.
And fun fact about her, she's played by Masako Nozawa, otherwise known as Goku.
Oh.
Actually playing a woman her age.
Finally. There's some anime, I forget which one it is, but it's like they would always get really, really famous seiyus to play really bit one-off parts. And I think in the episode she was in, she was just like a lizard with 2 lines.
Yeah, and it would have cost them like
$1,000,000 yen.
Yeah. Her English voice actress is one of the strongest performers.
That's good. She never gets a name.
Tamara.
She does? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it might say that on the sign. It's like Tamara Ping Pong Dojo.
Yeah, the Tamara Ping Pong Dojo.
Yeah, nobody
I think
calls
call
her that.
I think her friend, I think like Joe and the other guy do, the grandpa.
Yeah. And it's
that was also a really touching scene when they all became friends again, and then it fades to them like being young again. Oh. Yeah. You guys.
Yeah, because Joe, Dojo Lady, and Crazy Grandpa all played ping pong in their youth, and they were friends. And who was it? Crazy Grandpa had a knee injury, and Joe, didn't take advantage of it to win the game. He let his friend win because that was his friend, and he just didn't have the heart to do it. And I don't remember. I think did the same thing happen to Dojo Lady too?
Yeah, she injured her knee.
Yeah, which ruined her career. It was very close to happening to Pekko. Oh, Pam Doherty voiced the grandma from Summer Wars.
Oh. That's good
Nikki,
grandma.
Nikki, best fact about Masako Nozawa, specifically for you, because she voices every kid in Goku's family, including Goku, Japanese fans give her the nickname the Eternal Boy.
And here she's playing a hunched over chain smoker.
Perfect. Gosh, she's gonna be 80 this October.
Man, O'Malley. When Smile was like beating the shit out of Joe in ping pong, I was like, dude, he's an old man.
That was so early in the show, and I had no idea what tone the show was gonna take. I didn't know if he was gonna die or not.
I know. I was like,
I was legitimately concerned.
And I mean, Joe was originally trying to ping pong kill Smile.
Yeah, but Smile's a kid.
Yeah, but he was trying to. Well, what he was doing is like you're a prick kid. You're a real grade A piece of shit, and I'm gonna publicly shame you because it's the only thing that's gonna work. And he unlocks something in him that causes Smile to just suplex him
through ping pong.
I love the show. I wouldn't change anything about the show. I do want like an actual I want the Shaolin soccer of ping pong.
I mean, that was this was almost that.
No, I mean, like, people are actually, like, doing crazy superpower stuff. Because I imagine, like, they're, like, flying up in the air, Dragon Ball style, smashing the shit out of this ball. But the table is still just 3 feet wide. Like, a mile below them. They're just smashing it down onto the table.
And, like, the ball, it's a ping pong ball.
It's still a ping pong ball. It's still the same size. Everything's the same size.
It doesn't get any louder because it can't.
Oh.
They're fighting in the entirety of that Goku Vegeta desert and just ruining the place, but still with the same tiny equipment.
Like every time the ball hits the table sinks into the earth craters around it, but the table's perfectly fine. Just keeps sinking lower and lower.
Yes.
Yeah. We haven't talked too much about the art style. I mean, if you know Masaki Yuasa, his style is unconventional. But I remember at the time, love it. Yeah, I loved it too. But I remember at the time, a lot of people didn't know what to do with it because it was ugly. It's ugly, and people say it looks
uneducated fucking groundlings.
Yeah, see, I know a lot of people who I couldn't watch it. It was too ugly. It looked cheap and poorly animated. And I was like, nah, man, nah.
I'm gonna fight them. I'm gonna fight them in the street.
I had a coworker who said she had the same thing. She couldn't get past the first episode. And at first I assumed they just meant because it's Yuasa, it looks different from quote-unquote regular anime.
And that's part of it. And
it does. It's also kind of a nasty-looking show. And I don't mean that it's necessarily ugly, but there's no desire to make it look clean.
No. It's like the polar opposite of the modern anime aesthetic, where everything is round and soft and perfectly lit to look almost jellied-like. This is flat.
It's rough,
angular, and rough.
Fucking
sketchy.
Sketchy.
Characters aren't made to look attractive. There's no desire for that whatsoever. Movement is more important than character models.
There's that shot at the end of the opening sequence where Peiko blows the gum bubble, and it's fucking gross. His teeth. He looks like Dead Hand from Ocarina of Time. But, we've mentioned this before. Ian Jones-Quartey mentioned that, the idea of on-model, off-model is bullshit. As long as you can recognize a character, it's on-model. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I couldn't.
I mostly could.
I always could.
Mostly with the skinheads.
Yeah, I mean, there's really only 3 skinheads that mattered.
Can we stop calling them that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, because the one guy had one guy was Dragon, he was the biggest. One guy was Eyebrows, and then the other guy was the Glasses. And then the rest of them were just Hobbit dwarves. They didn't matter.
There's that other Glasses guy who got to the semifinals in the last tournament that apparently wasn't important enough for the match to take place for more than a minute of screen time.
He wasn't really mentioned for anything.
There was the coach with the crazy hair.
Oh my god. What's his name?
Or not the coach, the captain.
Odo. Who's at first he's just an asshole, and then you learn that he's working his butt off to do his best.
Yeah, he's doing his fucking best. He just wants to have a good time. He wants to have a good time at this school club when he's not fucking running his family business.
Yeah.
And then here comes this chump.
But man, his hairstyle is unbelievable. I don't know where the hell that came from.
It reminded me of Brad Neely, the art style.
Yeah. Well, you said I'm gonna let you say because it's great.
It's if Brad Neely tried. because it's even because I'm not gonna say that Brad Neely can't draw. Through all the garbage that he draws on purpose, you can still see all the fundamentals of legitimate art going on beneath the poop. I especially noticed it in some shots early on, if they did close up of hands and stuff. Sometimes if a finger was bent, they would just literally just draw a flat folded finger over top of the other half of the finger, and Neely does that all the time. And just shit like that. It's just so. But then it's just the animation is insane, and even even the art style itself, it's definitely not traditional, but I don't think it's bad.
No,
I don't think it's bad.
There's a deliberate nastiness to it, which is kind of the point. Because these are just a bunch of schmucks who are just trying to do it. It's very much stripping away any kind of glamour from this that may exist in this sport.
It's a stylized photorealism. Basically, only a lot of the faces and a lot of the more exaggerated posing are more cartoony. But when they're just moving around and playing the ping pong, some stuff might have been rotoscoped for all I know. It was fucking fluid enough for it to be. And the thing is, like, when you get a style like that and then you go for a more on-point, like, photorealistic kind of anatomy, like, human beings are ugly as just as a thing. Like, well, compared to the idealized minimalist flawlessness of a cartoon depiction where all of the microscopic details are wiped away and unable to render, so your brain fills in the blanks with, attractive stuff.
Yeah. The human body is weird looking. And I like how they deliberately they looked like real people. Like, Peko had a shitty haircut. He looked like a real shitty, he's not a shitty guy, but he's like a shit-eating guy.
A shithead.
A shithead.
Yeah.
And like...
Yeah, like, he went from a shitty elementary school haircut to when he got kind of fat to a shitty middle school haircut.
He's literally...
And then back to his elementary bowl cut.
He's literally a foodie for convenience store junk.
Yeah. And then Smile, like, he's so pale, and then his lips are pink, and like... That's not even remotely like anime convention whatsoever. And I just sort of love how they don't want to do that. And it's very much in the spirit of the original art of the manga. And that's good. We need some variety.
And that's
a lot of people had really janked up eyes, like Akuma or the guy who ended up training Peko.
Well, Akuma's because he had astigmatism.
He had like the worst astigmatism in the world.
His eyeballs were upside down.
Yeah, pretty much. He couldn't tell the difference between a train and a car. He's so blind. It's probably why he couldn't be really good at ping pong. Because, like, you need to see.
He did end up with a really cool nickname, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It means devil.
Or demon. His story was painful, too.
I like his story, too. I liked all of their stories.
He was faced with the reality that, like, he put in so much work. But he didn't have any natural talent. He had a barrier that he was never going to be able to cross. He just couldn't lump it. And he got as far as he did, like, against Peko with mind games. Like, that fight against Peko, I call him fight because that's actually how this show portrays him, really, with all the shots and everything. But, he manipulated Peko's kind of single-minded approach. And so they did the exact same volley of a high lob to Peko smashing it straight out.
Yeah.
Like 20 times.
Yeah, it
was very interesting because it was far beyond the point at which it was necessary, but it became super stressful because you realize so much in that. You realize not only that he's playing him, but also that, like, he's not, at this point, Peko doesn't have the capacity to adapt.
No. He can't do anything about it, and it's just like, oh, jeez.
Like, I could have figured that out. I would have just, like, bunted it.
Yeah.
If it, with that much of a lob, if he's that far, you can just kind of like tap it to way off to the side. Not even like hitting the corner. You could just get it like right behind the net, go tap, 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 and you win.
Like, the technicalities of ping pong were something I hadn't thought about before. Like, the idea that if you do like a spinning ball, if you hit it at the wrong angle, it'll like make it go. The momentum won't be right.
It'll bounce off your paddle in a weird way if the spin is off. Like that. I mean, there's that one time Dragon put so much spin on it, it ramped against the wall for like...
No, that was Kong.
A minute. Kong, yeah.
Yeah.
Because not only does it change the way that it hits the table, but it can change the way you hit your paddle if there's enough spin.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I was like... And I didn't know anything about the pegs. I didn't know there were different kinds of rackets.
Yeah. Like, all of those character captions, never once did I ever grasp what the fuck they were talking about.
Apparently you can hold it like a pen or hold it like that, or there's different styles of holding it and different methods of playing.
They kept the pen hold is when it's going like in between your middle and ring fingers, and it's like kind of an underhand swing. It allows you to get some of your hands behind the paddle to push it.
And it allows you to like twirl back
Smile
and forth.
A Chopper, and I was like, oh, that's my favorite One Piece character.
Yeah. No, I don't even know what that refers to. I assume it's a kind of hit, but I don't know what it is.
It's a defensive hit, apparently. I guess you chop.
That's an amazing attention to detail, because that's like, the way they play ping pong is it fits within their characterization. Like, Smile was always playing defensively, and then, like, when it turned, like, whenever he would play offensive, he'd be like, holy shit!
Yeah, and he would, like, he would, like, purposely, like, lose the first match so he could get a feeling for his opponent's style and then just ram slam him in the next round.
He's a Borg. He's a ping pong Borg. He just adapts.
Yeah, so that's why they compare him to a robot, so much. And
not just because he's emotionless or seemingly emotionless, because he's so methodical.
Yeah. The scene where he's like, why doesn't everybody just leave me alone? I do everything I'm supposed to do. I don't bother anybody, and people won't let me be. And it's like, oh, that got me a little bit. Because he's definitely a hard character to warm up to. I remember I watched this series in my club, because I really wanted to watch it. And the other kids were like, I don't like these people. Pecco's an ass, and Smile's a different kind of ass. They're not immediately likable people in what you would consider likable, but they do grow on you and they feel more realistic. Yeah.
And I mean that's kind of the thing. Their flaws really come through in their personality. Like one's overly emotive to the point where it's annoying, and the other one is just so in his own shell, like you can't connect with him on any level, and that's I love it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I love when they're kids, they're drawn with little swirly, rosy cheeks.
Yeah. Oh, the children are especially gremlin-y in this show.
Oh. But part of what Smile, we sort of mentioned it in the beginning, but Smile's thing is that he wants to be like Pecco, but not because he wants to be good at ping pong like Pecco, but because he wants to be a joyful, fully actualized, spirited human being that other people can see as that. He traps himself in how people view him to be.
Yeah.
And it limits himself more than anything else, but he's sort of stuck in that place because he doesn't know how else to function, because the world's been kind of cruel to him, except for Pecco and ping pong. And that song at the very end, that scene where they're playing, they finally play each other for realsies, and it's gorgeous and beautiful. And there's this song that plays while they're going back to the past of wherever their childhood and all this stuff. The song, apparently it's not specifically from this show. It's called Tenohiro wo Taiyo ni. I guess it's just a children's song. But it's so beautiful.
It really is.
It's gorgeous, and it's true. But it's simple. It's the best children's anything, where it's so simple but so poignant and deep.
Yeah.
Oh, we are alive, that's why we're sad. We are alive, that's why we're happy. And it's yes, that is how did you guys feel about the time skip at the very end?
I liked it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. It was unexpected, but it was oh, okay.
So where are they now? And, like I said, I think it's very interesting that, most of them, they're just done with ping pong.
Yeah, I mean,
they're done with ping pong on the competitive level. They're we don't, the whole idea of, why do you play ping pong came up a lot. And, in a lot of animes, why do you fight? The trailer for Guilty Gear X.
Yeah.
But it's why do you play ping pong? It's it's ping pong! But, it really is. This profound thing that they get out of it, and most of them, yeah, they weren't in the right place playing it competitively.
Yeah, I mean, Pecco, he gets drafted into the German national team actually, and plays in European leagues, so he gets to eat European junk food. So he achieved his dream. Smile, apparently he continued to play competitively, but then retired, I guess, when he graduated high school, and then teaches at the dojo, and then it was...
He's probably going to inherit it.
Yeah, and then he's looking to become a middle school teacher, in general, and maybe be a coach at a school.
That's something... Teaching middle school is the thing you shouldn't stake your life on. Go back to ping pong, God.
Kazuma, became still stuck with ping pong for a while, was drafted into the Japanese Olympic team, but then was replaced with Kong, because And then now he's just like, whatever. I'll work the business. Sakuma, he never returned to ping pong. He married that really annoying girl. Oh my god.
My mama, I'm tired.
Had a bunch of kids.
He was bald for so long, so when he finally grew out his hair, he got himself a stupid Yankee cone.
Yes. I loved it. And then Kong, like, sort of gave up the dream of going back to China and just sort of embraced it and became a citizen of Japan, changed his name to Tsujido, which is named after the school where he was employed and where he made all his friends. And then...
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very subtle. It was written in the text, but it was like in Japanese, and like in the manga, it's a little bit more specific. But yeah, he's currently in the Japanese Olympic team, attending the Olympic Games. So yeah, it's basically just Kong and Peko who really continue with it in their lives. Everybody else is kind of like...
Yeah, and Kong doesn't continue down exactly the same, down his intended path. Now, there's one character we haven't talked about a bit, but I really couldn't... She was the one I got the least grasp on, that was Yurie.
Yeah, I don't know. She was,
I don't know,
the girl... The model.
Oh, like the one that wanted to date the dragon?
Yeah, his cousin or whatever.
Yeah.
They was cousins and...
That's slightly more okay in Japan than it is here a little bit.
I guess. And
I wasn't sure how they were related.
I think on a genetic level it's pretty safe.
Yeah, I think they were like third cousins or something. I don't know how exactly they were related. But like, I don't know. But he wasn't interested. And she was just kind of there. I don't know what her deal was, honestly.
I mean, I definitely felt for her. She wants like she legitimately like she likes this dude on regardless of the level, on some level.
Mm-hmm.
And she just tries her fucking hardest to get him to be a human being and have a life outside of ping pong.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have it. To the point where it's like it's now affecting and harming her life, and then she has to make that decision to be like, finally be like, well, fuck you, then I'm out, then I'm gone. That was really good. That was a really good arc, just in general. That's always a great message. That like sometimes like you're not obligated to give your entire life for somebody, especially when they clearly don't want it. So you gotta come first.
And she doesn't have to remain attached to the family, because it's a toxic family. And she was only there because she, liked Kazuma. And then she was like, you know what? I don't need this. I can be my own person away from this crap in my cool car.
What? Well, not no more. She sold it.
Yeah, she sold that car.
I know. Like, there's a scene where she was just driving in circles randomly in the road, and I was like,
she was just like doing donuts in a roundabout or something, and I was like, what are you actually doing? I'd be terrified. I'd be terrified if I was outside of the car. I'd be terrified if I was inside of the car. I'd be terrified if I was driving it. There's no situation where I'm near that event and not out of my mind terrified.
And then, like, Eyebrows has a crush on her. He has this really creepy poster right above his bed of her. And then in the shot
there
where
were
we
tissues
see that,
in
there
that
were
shot.
tissues. Used tissues.
Ooh. Homie, get a trash can. Don't just leave them there.
Yucky, blood.
I like with the whole confession scene. She's like, this is very nice, but yeah, move along.
So many women have to pull that move. They just stone cold, just like, oh, that's nice. Bye.
He was bowing so far down. He was a plank.
And then after that, like, he thinks he's in.
Yeah. It's like, I'm gonna steal your woman from you.
Oh, I'm gonna get you. I did it. I talked to a lady. Gonna touch your boob.
It's all these man butts everywhere. Doing
the top of my head's not a close enough approximation.
So I think that's the show.
I think so.
Yeah, man. Check it the fuck out. You can knock it out in a day if you've got nothing to do.
That's what I did.
Yeah, it's 11 episodes. It's a hell of a watch. Like, really, really pay attention to the animation. You gotta visually. There's basically nothing else like it, even among Yuasa's other stuff.
If you're a big sports anime person, I want you to watch it and then tell us your perspective, because I think that's fascinating. I want to know.
Because it's not so much about the sport, even though there is a lot of research involved.
It's about other people reacting to the sport.
Yeah, it's just like the conduit through which we meet these individuals and through which these individuals grow and develop and overcome their challenges in life.
Because, I mean, there is still a lot of legitimate, like, sports theory going on, and then all the, like, there's some sports anime tropes in it still, just because it's like, you know, it's a narrative about a competitive sport. You're not going to be able to avoid them. Mm-hmm. So I do want to know. I would love to see, like, anybody who's a fan of, like, I don't know, what's it called, Yamushi Pedal, or Big Wind Up, or Ufuri, as those are called, or I guess
Haikyuu.
Free. Haikyuu's really good though. I guess Free. They just sort of swim back and forth. I don't. Anyway,
is Winning 11 a real thing?
I don't know what that is.
Or Inazuma 11?
Inazuma 11, yeah, that's soccer.
Winning 11 is a video game. Here's a great metaphor for why ping pong is so interesting as a sport. The Toon Goons collective game of the year for 2015 was Steven Universe Attack the Light. Ping pong is to tennis as Attack the Light is to, say, Final Fantasy. Because it's on this is for real. Because it's on a such smaller scale, the margin for error is it's non-existent. It's so minuscule, and everything is so precise. That's not to say that there's not a margin of error in tennis, but because it's bigger, it's not these super precise, quick it's a slower sport, first of all.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot more violent grunting that I don't enjoy.
Well, this one, every time they got a point, they're like, yes!
Although, what if they were like that in ping pong? It'd just be like, ooh, 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 ooh. That would actually be great.
They did it so much, it made me wonder if that's like a real thing competitive ping pong table tennis people do. Just like, yes! Like, I don't know. They do, like, all of them do it.
I think so. It just, like, hypes you up. That and, like, a ping pong racket isn't as heavy as a tennis racket. Tennis racket actually has some weight to it. And, like, when they mentioned phasing out plastic balls, I was like, then what are they gonna... What? I thought they were plastic balls.
You have to buy 1,000 of them at a time for one game, because you're not gonna fucking pick them up.
I learned a lot about ping pong.
Same.
And heroism, I think. That was a theme we haven't really touched too much on. Maybe.